Hello and welcome to Retrotainment Recast. We are back this week, and as you can see, I'm in the judge's seat yet again. So that means my historic championship reign was cut short by again. The 1 week reigns don't do well for me, but however, I don't mind being the judge. We're moving on here, and we're doing an absolute classic. It's the lads have a tough task in the Truman Show this week. So lads, how are you feeling about it?
It was a tough one to do. It's the only the main character obviously is Truman, and outside of Truman, everyone else is a little bit kind of not overly important to the script. So you can kind of
everyone's kind of important, but
they're important in their way. But you could kind of nearly have anyone in them, which was kind of the tough part.
Yeah. It was great. It was great to actually get back and rewatch this. I hadn't watched this since probably 6th year in school. When we done Leaving Cert.
No, I didn't get to watch it for my Leaving Cert. My Left Foot was my one.
Yeah, we had a choice of that as well. That's another fantastic fucking movie.
Very good film, but I'd much rather watch The Truman Show over My Left Foot.
That wouldn't we all? Anyway, lads, you want to get your picks in there. Send them in.
Send them in there now. 3, 2, 1. There you go. Sent in. Phone's down.
Just before we go in, Ted, obviously you can't look. Carl, go in and have a laugh at you'll understand when I said I changed somebody.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, fair.
Ted, you can look later.
I'll look after it. It doesn't really make a difference because I can't change my picks now because I've sent them in anyway, but I'll have a look later.
Don't look yet.
Well, I'll hear when you're telling us anyway. But.
Yeah.
True. We'll start off here, and Champ, you can go first.
Okay.
With probably the least vital character of them all in here, and Truman's father, originally played by Brian Duke, or DeLate. Probably Brian DeLate.
Yeah. This was kind of a tough one because. This one was kind of a tough one because you don't have he doesn't have much of an impact in it other than you see him as kind of the homeless guy, and then you see him come back.
Flashbacks.
Then the flashbacks and stuff, and even in the flashbacks he's not hugely there until you get the kind of explanation as to why he was kicked off the show, which happens quite late in the film, and it doesn't really impact the film in any way. I had a couple of people for this. One person I thought was Jason Mantzoukas. I don't really know. He plays Pimento in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Young for that.
He's not, that's what I thought, but he's actually not that young. I didn't go with him in the end because it didn't really fit the character either. Who I went with was Ed Helms, who is
good show.
Andy from The Office, because I think he'd play he can play kind of the disheveled, he's lost his job and he wants back in. He can play that quite well, as we see in The Office. And then you could see him being the kind of father figure, who kind of was like in on it from the start as well.
Okay.
Right. I went in, I had a couple of names, but I've only started rewatching a box set of films that you actually like, Carl, in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
And I went with John Lithgow.
John Lithgow.
Yeah, he's not advised to not take in small parts anymore because he doesn't really command anything. He plays the dad in Planet of the Apes now as well.
John Lithgow's fantastic. I love John Lithgow. He's also the lead of Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah.
Who else I was thinking of? I was thinking of Al Bundy.
That's who I had. I had Ed O'Neill as my choice.
Really? I kind of I steered away from them because I think they're a little bit they're probably a little bit old for.
They are old, but
because his dad was on, I was saying this to you before, the cast in this are actually all very close in age.
They are.
Truman's 36 in sorry, not Truman, but obviously. Jim Carrey's 36 in this, and the dad
was doing this, was it?
He was 36 in this, but the dad is 49 and the mum is 55. They're actually not that much older than him.
Yeah.
But the dad is still quite young when he does come back. Do you know what I mean? Then
again, I've made my Truman that little bit older.
I have as well. I will say one of my backups for Truman I'll just say it out there, was actually Ed Helms.
Yeah.
That would have been a good one.
Yeah. See, problem is that Ed Helms is closer to the dad's age, which is something I always kind of keep that in mind. Like,
yeah,
you have to remember if the dad is in his 70s, which is what John Lithgow and Ed O'Neill are, it kind of changes everything, you know.
It doesn't really change much, I think, to be honest. It's I'm gonna have to go for John Lithgow because I do have Ed Helms elsewhere, or as a backup elsewhere, and you know, I thought it's quite difficult to kind of cast Truman as such a young guy, because there's not really many, from what I can see, you know, the young guys out there to be casting. Then I wanted to have a significantly, or at least a looking older person than who I'd had as Truman. So that's where I went with that.
This might cause slight problems now because obviously we have to cast the mother.
Well, I took that in mind as well. Yeah,
it's not for me.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I've cast based on the in and around the ages that they were. So if you're casting someone who's 70 as the dad, that's going to change.
Sofia Vergara did play Ed O'Neill's wife in Modern Family, so I will take that into consideration.
But they also make it a thing to that like they met somewhere after he was divorced. I mean, they don't make it that she's supposed to be older than she is. That's half the running joke of that.
No, but they're meant to have been like a couple that got together
at a
young age is what my point is. So like,
we'll take that into consideration.
We're already recasting it as a thing, like, so it's person by person. That's why I didn't want to do it. Remember when we done
Jason Bob?
I didn't want to do it
as
that way.
Yeah.
Because
no, that's fair enough. I was just making that point, just that when I'm casting, when the person I have cast as the mother, and you're like, oh, she's way too young, I'd be like, yeah, but not in the way that I cast, she wasn't, you know.
No, of course.
It's just person for person now, really.
Yeah.
Because of the way.
What about yourself? We'll go. Speaking of, we'll go on to Truman's mother, Holland Taylor, the legendary Holland Taylor.
Yeah.
What way did you go here, Greg?
I went another big name. I went with Helen Mirren.
Okay.
I tried, as Ted done, I tried to keep them kind of closer, but I had to age it up, obviously, because it says my Truman's a bit older.
Yeah.
But I thought her and John Lithgow would fit in there. Like, she's in it more than he is.
Yeah, she's not in a whole amount either, though, is one of the things she's not.
Yeah, and I think Helen Mirren's at that point now where she'll pick up smaller roles.
Well, she can do. She does a bit of everything. I mean, she was in Fast and Furious as well, which wasn't a huge role.
Yeah, no, she does. She takes it.
Yeah.
Oh, she was Things Man, wasn't she?
Yeah, no, she does take up a lot of roles. I had two people for this. So the first was the one I didn't go with, was Helen Bonham Carter, who we're all big fans of.
A favorite of yours, Ted. You've used her many times in these shows.
Yeah, she's a favorite of everyone's in this, to be honest. She's been used. We've all used her multiple times. I went with someone else who I've used a couple of times, but not recently, in Lena Headey.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who I think would play, the mother is kind of unforgiving and very dismissive of Truman. You know, whenever he has questions, she's kind of just brushes him off. And Lena Headey is very good at doing that sort of role.
Yeah, I like that pick. I'm going to give you that one there.
I would have given that one up.
And see, that's why I was like, I want to make sure that, because
it's
obviously you can't do her and John Lithgow as a young couple together. I was like, this is really gonna. So that's why I was like, I need to make sure I make this point nice and early here.
Yeah, no, it's hard denying Helen Mirren, but Lena Headey is a good shout.
Yeah.
So that's all tied up. What a piece. Nice and interesting, lads. Nice and interesting.
Keeping it fresh, yeah.
We'll move on to the best friend, Marlon. Noah Emmerich.
The one I'm not overly confident on, actually, if I'm honest.
By the way, sorry, before we move that, I never said my pick for Truman's mother. I had Phyllis Smith.
Who?
Phyllis from The Office.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, why not? I mean, I was looking for a TV moms kind of thing, an older TV moms, and I thought, even though she doesn't really play that, she looked at
you could see her doing it.
She was the mother character in that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I thought she'd play that quite well.
No, that would have been a good one actually as well. Yeah.
Because she can play that kind of conniving thing. She's done that in a couple of episodes.
That would have tied in well with my Ed Helm as well.
Well, I'm not going to lie, and it's all completely coincidence. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 characters
from the
recast as office characters, and I didn't intend that on happening.
Sometimes it does just happen. Now, Marlon was the one I kind of found a little bit tough to do, because it's like, he's the best friend, but he's obviously in on it. But you know, it's kind of a weird one because he acts like he's not in on it. Like Truman's very trusting of him.
Yeah, and he's always, his main joke is, you know, bringing the beer around. He's also a handyman.
He's always around.
What is he? He's a vending machine stockist.
He's just everything.
But he's there to give advice and to, help him build things or knock things down. And
the problem is that he's also not there all that often. So it's like he's kind of a small role that doesn't really do anything. So I was trying to think of people for that. And as I said, I'm not confident with this one at all. I went with Andrew Garfield, who his star was rising, kind of dropped off a little bit, and it seems to be on the rise again now, but it had dropped off a little bit.
Nominated for an Oscar, is he?
Yes.
I mean, it's back on the rise again now, but for a while, you know, like if I'd said Andrew Garfield to you guys 5 years ago, you know, he'd kind of gone off everyone's radar in a sense.
I would have been raving about Hacksaw Ridge.
I think if we were doing this 5 years ago, you'd nearly have a look at Garfield as Truman.
Possibly, but my point is that like I wasn't confident with this one anyway, but I think Andrew Garfield is a very good actor, and I think he could play, because the best friend is kind of,
he's outstanding.
The best friend is kind of the, you know, lovable best friend, because the whole time, like even when he's playing, you know, when they have that like sit down, like emotional chat
on the beach,
where you're not entirely certain, is he in on it or is he not in on it? And you're like, okay, maybe he's not in on it, and I feel Garfield could portray that very well. And then you find out he is in on it, and you're like, oh, he could do that as well. Now I do think he could do it. So that's not hugely confident on it, but I can see him doing the role very well.
That's him when he comes up from the ladder through the thing. Oh, I don't know where he's gone. Of course you don't know where he's gone. You know where he's gone, you go and get him.
Stop talking to the camera.
Go to commercial. What? Transmission.
What about yourself, Greg? What way did you go here for Marlon?
I actually had thought of Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
He was like the third or fourth one down on the list for me. I'm not going to run through them all because we'll be here all night. I went with Seth Rogen.
Okay, Seth Rogen.
He's done that shtick before where he comes around with the drink all the time. Well, mostly it's a bag of weed with him, but
no, I could see.
I mean, if you're modernizing it, we are remaking it.
It could be either. I can see either of them doing it. Yeah.
I love Seth Rogen. He's gas.
I had two choices myself here. I did have Joel Edgerton.
Ooh, that's a show.
Yeah. And then I also had Craig Robinson.
God damn it!
Oh, Judy.
You know,
how many times I picked that man, he's never got in.
I know, but I think he'd suit this role so well.
He might, he could do it. He could do it well, yeah.
Can I change my pick?
Well, if you're changing yours, I'm going to change mine. You can't do
Craig
that.
Robinson will take a point apiece.
I'm going to go Seth Rogen here.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't think it goes to Andrew Garfield there, to be honest. I think he's more of a leading guy. But I do understand where your point was coming from. But I'm going to have to go Seth Rogen there.
When you said Andrew Garfield, I was like, is this going to happen to me again?
Yeah. No, see, like, as I said, I wasn't superly confident on that one. Like,
if you're not confident on it and you lose it, you're not doing too badly.
That's what I mean. Like, I was kind of like, coming into this, I was like, I can see that one kind of maybe not going my way. I did think, I thought the Ed Helm one was very good. But obviously that's not going my way. But
Johnny L is king.
That was one of the ones that I came in. I was like, I think like Lena Headey. I was like, I think I've got this one. And then I was worried when I didn't guess. Like when the father was way aged up. I was like, oh, I could be fucked on that now.
No, we couldn't do that because like theoretically you could have had the best cast.
Oh, fairness. Picture John Lithgow and Lena Headey together. I mean, it's not
out. It's Ed Helms.
Unrealistic.
It's Ed O'Neill and Sophie Vergara in Modern Family, essentially.
Yeah, but it's because they're meant to have had him as a young. They're meant to have had him young.
Tweaking just a little.
No, you know what I mean. Like, so I just kind of had to look at it that way as well.
We're going to move on to Laura Linney's Merrill, the wife of Truman.
It's the one you were saying, Greg. You're very confident on.
Go, Carl. I told you to have a look at the name. It's gas the way I wrote it. I wrote it exactly how I'm going to say it now. The last 3 or 4 weeks, I've picked people that I absolutely despise in roles. And now I'm not going to drop it now. I'm going with Judy fucking Greer. I hate her so much. And I was sitting watching this, and the scene when she does the fucking stupid thing with the cocoa powder.
Yeah.
I was like, that's her.
It's a good show.
Can't unsee
Judy Greer is a very good show.
Judy Greer is a decent shout for that. Yeah,
so
I know you hate her, but yeah. I'm still operating on the fact that I was going a little bit younger with these because obviously I went with the parents being.
Well, we can only pick person by person. You know what I mean?
No, but like when I was casting this, I'd already cast the parents, so everyone else needed to be that few years younger. So I'm still working on that. Like from that, I went with someone else who I think could play it quite well. You know, the kind of bitchy. You know, I was kind of forced into this role, but I also wanted it because it gets me on the television screen. Like we don't see a whole lot of her, but throughout his life you're going to see quite a lot. But feels a bit entitled to her role as well. I think somebody who could play that very well would be Emma Roberts. I think she'd play that quite well. She'd be like,
I like Emma Roberts.
Like I deserve this, and then when things aren't going her way, she's a bit stroppy about it.
Okay. My choice here actually was another Office pick. I went with Ellie Kemper.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you said The Office, I was like, it's got to be Ellie Kemper. There's no one else it could have been here.
It could have been It could have been Michael's missus.
No, she'd be too old. She'd be probably too old.
But I thought Ellie Kemper would do Meryl's role quite well, especially what you were saying, the cocoa powder scene and all that, the real fake advertisement stuff.
When she done that, all I could see was Judy Greer, and I was like,
you kind of had me nailed with Judy Greer, I'm not going to lie, but I think Emma Roberts is a great shout.
Yeah. She's a solid one for us, like.
Yeah, once I saw Judy Greer when he said it, I thought that was nailed on, but I'm going to have to go with Emma Roberts.
Yes.
That's fair.
Yeah, now Judy Greer, I think what caught you there, Greg, is that Judy Greer looks quite similar to the original actress.
Well, there's that, but there's also the acting style that she
the acting style is there as well, but I think the physical similarity probably tipped you over the edge to being, this is definitely a winner. Like,
and
but in fairness,
it is a solid one.
With most other actresses,
it probably would have been. Yeah,
you would have won. Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think as I said, I wasn't too confident with Andrew Garfield, and then sometimes you come in with one that you're really confident with. Yeah, and that's what happened here.
Like the previous episode with Ash when I had David Dalsmatian, and so did you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was one. I was banking on a point.
That was the same as Dacre Montgomery when me and Carl both thought we were onto winners and that very early on in it as well.
Or what was it in Predator with Jason Momoa?
Predator, we all chose Jason
Momoa. all of us thinking we had the fucking point.
Yeah. So we'll go to the other lead female in this, Lauren/Sylvia, played by Natasha McLean. The love interest.
The one-hit wonder.
The real love interest.
His actual love interest who gets kicked off the show and, keeps ringing in to complain about it. So this one I started rewatching Stranger Things recently in preparation for the new series coming out. Okay. And it was the bit where she's ringing in and, complaining, and she's real like, yous are treating him wrong and this, that, and the other. Yeah. And I very much got the vibes of Natalie Dyer out of that, and I think she'd do it quite well. She's obviously the older sister in Stranger Things. I had a few other people there, and I don't know. I'll give the name for the other person I had there, and it is only because I'd watched something recently because I didn't have her down. But the reason I didn't go there is I don't know if her accent, if she can do the accent that would have been needed. Thomasin McKenzie who's obviously the lead in Last Night in Soho. I don't know if her accent.
Well, I
I
mean, there's
think
nothing to
she
say.
can. I mean, her other big movie was
Yeah, see,
Jojo.
Yeah.
Jojo Rabbit. Yeah.
Yeah, so like
So
I wasn't.
She had a kind of German accent there.
Yeah, but I don't know if she can do the accent that's needed for this because
Yeah.
they're all meant to be from this one town, so they can't all
True.
have like mental accents. Is kind of the thing I was thinking of. So I was like, I won't go with her, but that's who I was thinking for a while, and then I said, no, I need to stick with someone
Fair.
accent
Where are you
wise.
going? She's going to Fiji.
Yeah,
I mean, her accent would fit in somewhatly over that way.
yeah, but we don't see her when she's in Fiji, so
True.
Fiji looks quite similar to being just outside the dome.
yeah. Well, everywhere outside the dome's Fiji.
Exactly. What about yourself here, Greg? Which way did you go?
I kind of went with a bigger name here. I went with an absolute 10 out of 10. I went with Anne Hathaway.
Okay, yeah.
I have to try and put someone different in. I didn't want to keep using the same people over and over. And I think she fits in, and having only rewatched Batman The Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight
Dark
Rises.
Knight Rises. Yeah, she's not in Dark Knight.
Yeah.
The worst of that trilogy.
But it's still a decent movie.
I like all of those ones, to be honest.
But like there's likes of that, and then there's some of the other ones. The one with Jake Gyllenhaal is The Love and Other Drugs. Where
You went on a bit of a Hathaway binge, did you?
Yeah.
No, I didn't watch that. No, I've seen it before. Like, I just know she's like,
Princess Diaring it up here. And all.
He was
Yeah,
watching
sure.
Devil Wears Prada.
that one I haven't seen.
Aren't you lucky?
Yep.
I also went with a big name here.
Cameron Diaz.
I went with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. No, that's a solid one. I had thought of her, and I don't know. I was like, I don't know, would she fit that role? And like, she probably does, to be honest.
I think she could be more along the lines of a Meryl.
Meryl. So I was thinking that, and then I looked at the role of Lauren or Sylvia, and it's when she's calling in to defend them, when she's calling to do that, that's 100% Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, it is. No, I had thought of her, and then it was only because I was rewatching Stranger Things that I actually went with Natalie Dyer.
Yeah.
Who, like, I think is quite a good actress, but she's not
27.
Yeah.
She looks about 12.
I know, yeah, but she's not a huge actress either.
Good actress too.
Yeah, but like, she's not a huge actress, which is kind of what was called for in this role as well.
Right. This is a tough one. I like both. It's flip flop on this whole episode. I'm gonna have to go with Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
This is going 1-to-1.
Yeah, see, I kind of went.
It's going against the person that's going first.
Yeah, I kind of went. I was kind of thinking someone who's not too big an actress is kind of what I was thinking. Like not an A-lister.
Yeah.
Which is where
I was generally so confident with Judy Greer.
Yeah, it happens, man. Sometimes you're really confident, like you're like, this is one I've got.
I wasn't overly confident with Anne Hathaway. Now I knew she'd take that part, and essentially when you look at it, your one that plays Lauren is a bit better looking than Meryl. So I went, you get someone that's better looking than the other person. It was a part of it taken in my mind.
Okay.
As well. But.
Yeah. No, I tried to keep them all the same age, because they're all meant to have kind of gone to school together. So Emma Roberts, Natalie Dyer, kind of similar ages.
That's true. Listen,
I'm not saying that you should use that for me, because obviously then if I was using that, and Lena Headey shouldn't be
actors.
Lena Headey shouldn't be cast alongside.
Makeup is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying when I was doing my picks, I was like, I want to keep them similar ages with, and I was like, someone who's not too big.
That's what I done as well.
Yeah, I was like, I want someone who's not too big a name, so I went with Natalie Dyer, partially because I was rewatching Stranger Things, I'd say.
I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I've seen Al Pacino look 40 in Kill the Irishman.
Yeah.
Badly.
This is true.
We're down to 2 now.
We're down to 2, and we'll move on to the antagonist, the creator.
I wouldn't even call him an antagonist.
Nah,
God,
he is.
basically. He is God in this little TV world. Christoph, Ed Harris,
I love Ed Harris.
annihilated this role.
Yeah,
when he played
very
it.
hard
He
to
was
recast.
outstanding in this.
Yeah, very hard to recast him.
It was. What way did you go, Greg?
I'm very happy with my pick. This was when we cut off the last episode, so we only have a chat afterwards.
Yeah.
I actually wrote this down on my phone, and it was the first name that came to mind before I'd even rewatched it. I went with Mads Mikkelsen.
Okay.
He is an absolute top quality actor. Actually, I was thinking Gary Oldman as well towards the end, but
I think Oldman's probably too big a name.
Yeah.
Is maybe.
Mads Mikkelsen's a good shout.
yeah,
Matt
I went to
Mikkelsen
Mads
is a good one.
especially when you look at his character in Casino Royale, where he plays the Schiffer.
True.
He's kind of pretty much just straight faced the whole way through. You don't get anything from Ed Harris in this. Like, there's no emotion, no nothing really.
No, the only emotion is anger when he realizes he's lost.
Yeah, but that's it. But
he's lost him. Like, he's like, where is he? I can't find him. Where the hell is he?
I love the ending where he's just like, say something, and he just looks and he's like, if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Yeah,
great way to finish it.
No, it was a very, very solid way of finishing
the little bow as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this one was a tough one, as I said. I kind of flipped and flopped on this, and then I went with someone who's a little bit older than the rest of the cast, because that's, again, I was kind of thinking, this person needs to be a little bit older than the rest of the cast. Maybe not particularly the mom and dad, but he needs to be older than the the kids that he's
directing.
Yeah, because he directs the birth, and he's very like, this was the first birth on television, so like that's something I had to keep in mind for this. So I went with someone who's not massively older and was also close in age to the original actor. I went with Jake Gyllenhaal, who I think could kind of play that. He's the bit of a bastard to them. Bit of a bastard, and like can play the like deadpan to the camera, but can be very vindictive as well, which is basically what happens here when he loses Truman. He gets very vindictive trying to get him back.
I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I just don't like him for that role, to be honest. He'd have been a great best friend, actually.
Maybe I think he'd do the role well.
I had two choices here. My first choice was Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And my first choice, who I think would nail it, is Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo's a good show. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo is a good show.
That's a show.
No, that is a good show. Yeah.
I've kind of avoided using a lot of Marvel actors throughout this whole thing, but
yeah,
I think Mark Ruffalo would nail this role.
Yeah, no, that is a good shout, to be fair. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think of him. Didn't even think of him when I was looking at it.
I'm not gonna lie, lads, he was the first name I wrote down.
Yeah, well, that's what Greg said. His one was the first he wrote down as well.
I'm not 100%. I'm not too keen on either of these choices, to be honest. I don't usually like saying that.
Yeah, no, it's.
I'm gonna have to give it to Mads.
Fair enough. I don't know. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I think Jake Gyllenhaal has the look of someone who's a bit deadpan when he's doing the interview, and they're like, "And do you not feel you did something wrong?" He's like, "No, I don't feel."
I do see it as well, but.
And then when he's on the phone,
give the Mads for that.
Yeah, then when he's on the phone, and then when he's going, just like when he's on the phone to your one, he's just like, yeah, whatever. Like, you agreed to be in it. Whatever you say doesn't bother me. And then when he's like freaking out in the backstage, and he's like, go to commercial, cut the feed, everything. I was just like, I can see Jake Gyllenhaal doing all of those bits. So I was like, yeah, I think he'd be solid for that.
Do you think that kill transmission line, he definitely brought that with him from the Abyss?
Possibly, I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt Jake Gyllenhaal, like when I was watching it, I was like, I can see him doing all those little bits is kind of when I was doing it.
I am 100% going to call this that we're going to end this in a draw.
No, well,
Well,
you've already
either
won.
which way, Greg, you are.
You've already
champion
won.
again.
Yeah, you've
Fourth.
already won.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot to take Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
And new.
I'm annoyed that you had Ed Helm as a backup for Truman because I think Ed Helm was a really good dad.
But we move on to Truman.
Yeah.
Ted,
I had
finish off your championship in glory.
Yeah, I had a few people here. One person I thought could be quite good would be Daniel Radcliffe. But I don't know if he has that cheery, like the way, like he's just not that cheery character.
He's a bit of a mopey cunt, isn't he?
Yeah, like it's not that he's exactly mopey all the time, but he doesn't have that, cheery. This is the one that I said before I rewatched the film I had a name down for, and it was Andy Sandberg.
Yeah.
And then I watched it and I went, no, it's not. This is not a role for him. But having not rewatched it, I was like, the style of comedy that you would associate with Jim Carrey is what you would associate with Andy Sandberg at the moment.
It's very similar, yeah.
He'd be the kind of closest to what Jim Carrey was then.
This isn't a regular Jim Carrey movie.
No, but that's my point. Before I did it, that's who I had. The person I actually went with was someone that I've made points about using before, but I think they could play the kind of deceived, naive kind of
I know
person. I went with Michael Cera.
Michael Cera.
Yeah, I think he can play that deceived little naive boy that eventually works it out and kind of freaks out a bit.
He's the fastest kid alive.
The fastest kid alive. Kid's a freak.
Yeah, what Ted said there was the easiest name. First name that came to my mind was Andy Sandberg.
Yeah,
and it's just not his style.
Not a role for him.
No.
I did actually think of Michael Cera. That's why when you said I've used him before, I was like, son of a bitch. It's not who I went with. I went with someone who can do the serious side, but with a funny nature. I went with Bill Hader.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love Bill Hader. He's great, and he was the best thing about the new It Part 2. He was phenomenal in Super. Is it Super? Yeah, Super.
Yeah. Again, part of mine was sticking to
the age.
The younger, like.
But that's what I said. I aged mine up, so everyone kind of fit around him.
Yeah, I didn't. I kept everyone close to the
Again,
ages of the people.
I haven't really taken the age into consideration here whatsoever in any of these picks. So
yeah. No, I'm just saying that's where I was looking. Like, I wouldn't even thought of Bill Hader because he would have been too old for the mum and dad. Like,
I had three choices for this one. One of them, as you know, was already at Helms.
Yeah.
I also had Ty Burrell, which is Phil.
You like Ty Burrell,
yeah.
I do like Ty.
Which also works with Truman being
Truman
Dean and then Ed O'Neill being his father. So it's like, yeah, there we go.
Well, it would have been his father-in-law.
Yeah. But I also my pick for Truman was John Krasinski.
Oh, that's a show. That's a fucking show.
Lads, if I was a competitor this week,
I still wouldn't have won because I wouldn't have picked any of them.
I don't know, John Krasinski. I can kind of see it for that.
I'm just gonna pause it here, lads. Victory sip.
It's a bit of a. I don't know if I see him as the happy-go-lucky, naive boy. Is the one thing I would have said.
And that's the way.
That's
the way
naive. You know, this is his life. This is all he knows. You know, and he starts figuring things out.
Eventually, yeah, but
I forgot how quick it was that the light falls out of the sky. It's like the opening.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like, that light falls out of the sky and he completely buys it. So that's what I mean by naivety. You know, like, this light falls out of the sky and then the radio is talking to him and he's buying into it. That's what I mean about the naivety.
When you watch that opening scene, right, the light falls out of the sky, they immediately put an airplane noise going across.
Yeah.
And then the radio comes out and says, "Oh, there was an airplane accident."
Yeah, but then the radio goes, "Are you thinking about flying anywhere?" And he goes, "No." And it goes, "Yeah, us neither." That's what I mean about naivety. Like, they have the radio actually speaking to him and like reacting to the things he says. That's what I meant about naivety. I'm not saying like, that he's overly naive in it. There's just certain little bits where you're like, yeah, you're a bit naive, mate.
For it to finish, I'm gonna have to go Bill Hader there. I can't see more for the fact that I can't see Michael Cera do it. More like I can't see him do it. I can see whatsoever. I can kind of see Bill Hader doing it.
It's
I
a
can see
knockout of the champion.
I can see Michael Cera coming out and
I know
waving at
Michael Cera
everyone
is a fan favorite.
No, but I mean, I can see him coming out and doing the wave to everyone, and then going about his day and work, and kind of still romanticizing about the
love
girl.
the two twins.
Yeah, but like still romanticizing about the girl that he'd met all these years ago. I can see him doing all of those bits and pieces.
Fair.
That's what I was looking at when I
fit
said
in there with Emma Stone as well.
Good.
Yeah,
What?
and then obviously I needed someone younger than the likes of Ed Helm, who was his dad. So I was kind of shoehorned into that as well.
Big Bill steps up in the final.
By the way, the match actually ends 5-2. Greg, you're the victor moving into next week against myself. Ted, which movie are we facing each other against in?
Yeah, we're going to go, it's going to be a bit of an older one, and we've steered clear of this sort of thing for a little while, where we're using quite a lot of young teenage actors.
Oh, no.
No, Ted.
But this time we are going to go back to doing it. We're going to go with the Lost Boys. Not the Peter Pan version of it, but the vampire-y Lost Boys.
We're going to
back
Santa
in the
Clara,
80s.
San
Lost
Francisco.
Boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, it'll be a bit of a longer because there's 9 cast in that I have in mind. But I'll give them to you offline. There's probably a few others that you could do, but we've never gone over 9, and you definitely don't need to do the other ones. So
cool. Alrighty.
Yeah, well, that's it for this week, I suppose. Obviously, vote on the polls on Carl's Instagram when he puts them up during the week. On the weekend, sorry, and then
weekend now.
Whenever Carl gets time.
Yes. Busy couple of weeks. I do apologize for the staggered polls going up, but
fine.
If I miss a week, it'll go up the following week with 2 at a time or 3 at a time.
You'll still have your chance. You'll still have your chance to vote. And then obviously share, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that stuff, and follow Carl's.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe. Well, I don't care if you subscribe. YouTube's kind of changed a bit. I don't care about subscribing, but definitely share, and follow.
Drop us a comment on what you think.
Let us know what you think, or if there's a film you'd like to see us do. Maybe we can
get you
put
on
that in. Well, we might get you on. But
if we got one of these wrong, if we got one of them right, tell us what you wanted to cast these characters as.
Yeah, but until next week, when the boys are left with a lot of young cast members to recast. Sorry about that, lads, but The Lost Boys is great film.
I give up my win here.
If you want, you can, yeah.
No, I can't.
But until then, lads, good luck.
Flood.